All right, we got 5 draft tips for you, major draft tips that are specific to this year, but also just more fantasy theory that it might seem like common sense, but it's not. And a lot of people make these mistakes. And we all know we want to pick the right players, but there's ways where you can screw yourself without picking. The players don't matter because your strategy's dog shit. So we want to avoid the bad strategies, right?
So my top strategy is to pick the guys that are going to do well and not get hurt.
Sometimes you gotta go forward by going backward. Are we driving cars or are cars driving us?
Yeah, very good. Actually, it's pick Tajay Spears in the 5th round.
Hey-o! So my honorable mention is actually have plenty of booze on hand. It's very important for when you make a mistake in your drafts.
And know your booze tolerance. Like me, I can do a lot of things hammered. And I might forget about them, but I function pretty well. And whether you want to call me an alcoholic, whatever.
I don't know how you can say that when you're standing here chugging beer.
I am not chugging beer. I'm sampling a flight of gluten-free German lagers with a French wine pairing. It's called a Smorgaswein, and it's elegantly cultural.
I can do it. Some people can't. So if you can't handle alcohol, do not get drunk at your draft.
That's a good.
That's a good one. I didn't even have to write down.
Like if it's a 23-round draft and by round 19, maybe you can go ahead and let loose a little bit.
Maybe do some cocaine. Not that I have to, but I'm saying that keeps you awake.
I
keeps you awake.
Maybe microdosing ketamine.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. All right, Rob's Roundtable. We got the draft blueprint for you. 5 awesome tips. What's your first tip?
Well, before we get to that, I've got something for you. Per usual.
Ooh, what do you got?
What do you think the odds are, and who do you think is the most likely NFL coach to get fired? The next coach to get fired per the odds in Las Vegas.
Mike McDaniel.
And the odds?
Oh, it's probably plus 350.
Plus 200.
Whoa!
Yeah. Brian Dable behind him at plus 400. Shane Steichen at 700. Stefanski 700. Dave Canales 700. So,
Jesus.
Back to my distrust of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, Vegas is telling us 2-1. 2-1 chance that McDaniel's the first coach to get fired.
That's wacky.
Especially when you consider that Brian Dable is a dead man walking there in New York.
Don't take that bet, though. I know it's like
I'm
likely,
not taking the bet.
That's not good odds.
It's not good odds.
Because they could literally start 3-1. You know they could. Like, we've seen it before.
Right.
They could also start 0-4, and he's definitely fired.
Right.
Because he is a nerd, bro. I hate that dude.
Nerds get nowhere in life. My God, I see a nerd. I can bash some nerds right now. Well, right after this, we should probably bash nerds. I got to get it out of my system. Yeah, bash some nerds. Get bowed up.
Yeah. Well, So, anyway, that's just a...
Come in prepared. I love it. All right. What's your first draft tip?
Okay. So, fade injury hopium. So, and by that, I mean... Don't assume that players who are injured in training camp will come back at 100% for week 1, even if all the coaches and the beat reporters, if all the reports are this guy is definitely going to be here for week 1. Let your other managers in your league chase the upside of injured players. So, for example, this year would be Joe Mixon, Juwan Jennings, Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, Najee Harris. Guys who the reports... They seem like they're going to be here at some point, but it takes a lot of time for players who are injured seriously to get back into form. Days turn into weeks. Weeks can turn into months. And also don't assume...
And months can turn into your season's over.
Cedric Tillman last year. Don't assume a player coming back for injury is going to be 100% to start the year. At the same time, you can buy the dip on players that were injured late last year and have their stock have a track record of solid production. So this year would be Dak Prescott, Kenneth Walker, Stephon Diggs, guys like that. So injuries can be useful both fading and buying.
So I actually had something similar. It was avoid drafting injured players when you can. Now the caveat is when the price is right, the price is right. Bob Barker told me that. So
he also told you to spay and neuter your pets.
Which I do. My dogs have never had balls.
It is very important. Spay and neuter your pets, people.
Mostly injuries will find you during the year. Don't find them.
They
already are going to find you. That's like on my tombstone, bro. Like I want that on my tombstone. And I have been a player historically that has been risky and gamble a little bit with that. But I've learned my lesson, and it's been worse in recent years because you just don't know what to believe with the reports. So just don't find them, man.
Yeah, injury reporting.
And if it's late guys, it's fine. Like super late. We're talking like 3rd, 4th, 5th guy in your bench, whatever. You're probably dropping those guys anyway.
Right. Your opportunity cost is very minimal in places like that. When you're talking about like, Juwan Jennings, for example, like there's a real opportunity cost to investing in that guy who might be gone for 4 weeks. And like we've talked about repeatedly on this program, when you've got a guy that you slot into your IR, even though it seems like, oh, it's a free spot, I'll slot in my IR, there are still opportunity costs, not being able to put the guys who get dinged up for a game in there, a guy who gets a concussion, right? Something like that. So
yeah, and also I think a lot of guys, especially in home leagues, they think they're smarter. Like if they play a lot of leagues, like they think they're smarter than the rest of their league mates, so they will take that gamble because they're like, I'll just get guys later. Fantasy is different now because of all the content and everyone. There's no sleepers anymore. Everyone knows everyone, so it's not like it was in 2010.
I'm convinced that there's no such thing as a buy low anymore because
Tucker Kraft.
Okay, yes. Potentially, but he's been rising up boards.
You need to win September. In home leagues especially, starting off 3-0 or 4-1, not only is it your chance to make the playoffs immensely better, but it gives you leverage, right? It's like having more poker chips when you're playing Texas Hold'em. You can make more bets, you can make trades, you can do things, you can start setting yourself up later. When you start off 1-3, you start having to make desperation trades. Oh, I need a running back for my bye week. When you're 4-1, if you have a bye week, just fuck it, I lose. I'm not going to make any trades to ruin my ultimate talent on my team. So you have a better leverage against your league mates. Take advantage of their 1-3 teams, 1-4 teams. Siphon their talent, then maybe grab some injured guys because you can afford a couple losses.
Oh, you're saying you can withstand taking an L here and there if you've got that strong start.
Yeah, so you start strong, like take players. Like last year I took Chuba Hubbard everywhere because I knew he was going to be great in September. Now, lucky for me, Jonathan Brooks got hurt when he came back, and Chuba was almost a year-long thing. But like that was a perfect guy for me. 12th round, an RB2. I knew he was going to be an RB2, and he was. Actually, it was an RB1. Like guys like that, like we knew it wasn't going to help you win the championship that specific week in the playoffs, but it got you there.
Yeah, I mean
that's the key.
I don't know that many people are even playing for Week 17 in casual leagues. I mean, I'm sure people think about it, but I'm not looking at Week 17. I'm looking at how do I put the best roster on the field so that I can make the playoffs. You just got to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and get enough spins at it, baby. What's your second draft tip?
It might seem obvious, but it's use tier-based drafting. And whether you find rankings online that have tiers or you make your own tiers like we do, I want you to not get hung up on certain players. It's better to have groups of players that you can pick from as opposed to trying to target in on individuals. Although, if you do have pillar players that you want to get, sometimes you do have to reach up and grab those guys if you're dead setting getting them. But it's better to try to predict who's going to be available towards the end of those tiers when it comes back around to your turn to draft. Those tiers are going to show you where the cliffs are on talent and opportunity, and where the valley hides. That means if you were panic picks, when that clock is running out, you're trying to search through rankings and you don't have those groups already grouped out, right? We've all been there. You can take calculated risks, and you have a much better shot at building a competitive roster when you've got a tier of 5 guys, and then those start going off the board. You don't have to take the second guy there. You don't have to get caught up in the run if you know that you can get the guy who's 5th in that tier. What that means is you're going to get similar production within that group, so you can go ahead and wait and take the guy later.
A good example is the wide receivers in the 3rd round. It starts with a JSN and T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Wilson, Harrison, Evans, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin. Like, we don't know who's going to be the best of those guys. Like, JSN's probably the safest. We did the exercise upside floor. But that's all a pretty set tier, right? Like, you don't want to be it sucks having the early pick because in the early 3rd, if you need a receiver, you're going to have to take the top guy from that tier. Which, it's nice to have the pick of the bunch, but I'd rather in the late 3rd, for instance, or early 4th, just get Devontae Adams or Mike Evans or Harrison or whoever falls because you're getting that player 14 picks later than someone that took JSN or Higgins.
Right. I mean, that's a good. Think about
and
it from.
You never know which order they're going to go in, right? It's also like other people are doing tier-based drafting, and they're just at that point you take your guy, which I'm cool with, and I don't really.
I think most people are just doing best player available. I don't know that most people are doing.
And a lot
tiers.
of people draft on ADP. Right?
Also true.
Like end all be all, they panic. It's like, oh, who's rated highest? I'm not a fan of that. Like I'm only a fan of it when I have, let's say the 10th pick, and it's like between 2 guys, and I'm going to take 2 wide receivers there. I'm going to take the higher guy at ADP because there's a better chance the lower guy will fall back to me the next round.
Don't get caught up on the ADP for your platform or even the rank for your platform. You can sort by both nowadays. Like you want to take a guy because you've got him ranked in your own personal ranks at 94, but they've got him ranked at 75. Well, you don't have to take that guy right there. If he goes, he goes, but you've got other guys in your tiers that you can fall back on. Don't get caught up in saying, I got to get this guy because the platform says he should be ranked 75.
All right, my first one, since I kind of piggybacked with your injured players one, is target good ecosystems. And I guess one of the issues with this is in in the middling teams, we don't know. We're wrong on this all the time, right? We're wrong on this team's going to be good, this team's going to be bad. But we do have a general idea. We know the top 5 teams. We know the bottom 5 teams for offense, roughly. Those middle teams get a little muddy. But a couple examples. So, like, I want to avoid, mostly this is also the caveat, I want to avoid non-elite players on letdown teams.
Okay.
An example of that is Jerry Jeudy.
Yep.
An example of that is Chuba Hubbard.
Would Tyrone Tracy be one of those guys?
Possibly, but he's going late enough where it's hard to count him there. But Chuba, for instance, is a 4th-round pick.
Right.
And he's a good player, but he is not an elite player. We think a lot of people are steaming up the Panthers' offense because what they did the last 6 weeks. Do we know the Panthers' offense? What's more likely? They finish 22nd or 12th?
Right, 22nd. We can't just assume that.
So that's an example of a 4th-round pick you're spending on a non-elite player that does not profile as a pass catcher. He's going a little bit after Alvin Kamara. They should not be going in this. I know he's in a bad situation, but it's Alvin fucking Kamara. And you're looking at 60 catches, like locked in, going to happen. So I want to really target these monster teams because they're going to score the points, right? That's why, like, the Bengals last year, every Bengals player, even Gesicki when T. Higgins went down. Gesicki was a top 10 tight end for that, 4-week stretch just because he was on the Bengals. Eagles players. I think the Cowboys could be one of those teams this year. Like, worst case scenario, Cowboys are middling, but like possible circus teams where there's other teams that just the Raiders. I get it. They have a pretty distinct top 3 guys.
It's a very narrow tree of production.
But Jacoby Myers is an example of a non-elite player on a probably bottom half offense.
Yeah, well, that's why I have concerns with the Steelers. That offensive system doesn't seem like it lends itself to very much fantasy production any way you stack it.
Well, that Jalen
running back,
Warren
quarterback,
concern.
Wide receiver.
But DK Metcalf, I call him an elite player, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Like,
seemingly.
Never been a top 15 guy, right? Like, is he actually elite? Those are your questions. Anybody else on the Saints? Like, I love Chris Olave, and I've taken him in drafts, but is it really smart to take a team that the starting quarterback on there would be the 3rd string on most other teams?
Yeah. Next one real quick. I already kind of touched on this one in the previous episode, was ignore most of camp noise, most of it, and ignore coach chatter. So if you have an opinion on a guy...
Coaches lie.
All the time. I mean, McCaffrey was healthy until Sunday night before the Monday night game of Week 1.
Le'Veon Bell was going to be there by Week 5. Don't you remember?
So it mostly comes down to if you have a belief in a player or a situation or a draft pick, don't let, unless it's like injury news, don't let a report, RJ Harvey being listed 5th in the depth chart. That's a really weird example, but don't let those things get you off a player. If you want to move him down a slot or two, but like don't buy into all this jargon, because if you do that, your rankings are going to change so much day to day, and like I'll change them maybe week to week a little bit, but you can't be changing your rankings. I can't be moving a guy up and down 8 spots because of a fucking blurb. I want to read them.
At the same time, you have to be cautious about taking too much from... I get you can glean some insight from preseason games. At the same time, it's very well known that coaches do not put their full playbook into practice in preseason games for the very reason they're trying to keep their secrets hidden for games that count, right? So even though our RB2 might seem like an RB1 in preseason, is that actually the case? Just because they're playing with the ones in preseason game, does that actually mean they're the running back 1? Or when push comes to shove, is the coach going to fall back on the veteran that they have that knows is going to be solid in pass protection and knows is going to be there for them?
Yeah. All right. What's your next draft tip?
It's very much a cliche, but zig when others are zagging. And by that, I mean, if everyone is going with one strategy or doing the same thing, it's the person that bucks the trend that has an opportunity to put themselves in position of a significant advantage, right? So example, last year, most of the workhorse-heavy running backs stayed healthy, relatively healthy, right? CMC being the exception, obviously. But prior to years past, when you'd have about 50% of the top running backs drafted get hurt and a backup sets into the role, we've seen they stayed healthy. So this year, the running backs have been pushed up in value, especially in the first round. So that presents a really good opportunity to acquire high-end wide receiver talent in rounds 1 and round 2 at value. Another example is your leagues might get caught up in a quarterback run, where if 2 quarterbacks go, you might see another go, and then a couple of picks, and then another, and you start seeing all these quarterbacks go off the board. So even if the guys in your tier go, there's really no reason to reach up and take a guy from the next tier, right? A lot of quarterbacks coming off the board, you have the opportunity to stack wide receivers and running backs in talent there, or stack that talent and snag an upside QB or two later and then stream the position. So that kind of goes back to our tier-based drafting. Like even if all the guys in your tier 2 quarterbacks go, don't just take the top guy at top of your tier 3 because you're fearful of missing out.
Right. That kind of leads into my next one is you don't need to fill out your starting lineup before drafting bench guys. A lot of guys are like, well, I got my 3 receivers, I got my 2 running backs, my flex is filled. I better take my quarterback and then my tight end. Even though the players aren't ideal or you're reaching on them, like you can wait. You can wait. Or you can take your bench receiver. But I don't like to do this, but you can take your bench receiver before your RB2. Like you're going to have that guy on your bench. It's going to give you a lot of insulation. Then what you have to do is make sure you pound running back late. And vice versa. You can take your 3rd running back before you take your 2nd receiver. Like I don't like doing it, but if that's where the value's at, do it. Don't just take a quarterback to fill out your quarterback spot, because if you take a guy like Bo Nix and it's like the 6th round, you could just wait sometimes 6 rounds later and get a solid, the same production pretty much, right? I know I'm not using Bo Nix as an example because he goes kind of high, but you can get a Caleb Williams. I know you hate that.
A Justin Fields.
Any of these guys, man. There's so many
of them. A
Dak
Prescott, a Kyler Murray.
You don't have to take Mark Andrews in the 5th round, 6th round, because all the tight ends are gone and you think it's a drop-off from there. You can just wait and take Tucker Kraft. Not to try to get too specific, but you can just wait, and there's going to be guys later. There's always guys later. The more talent you can acquire is good for you, especially in home leagues, because you can just make them trades, man.
Yeah.
People are going to need that position. You have the edge there. Just don't panic.
This is a bonus one I'm just thinking about now. It kind of ties in with yours. Is like in most home leagues, there's really very, very little reason to draft a backup quarterback. Now, if the value is really there, if a guy like Bo Nix drops into the 12th round, and you already took a quarterback, depends on how high you took him, but there might be an argument to be made. But if you take like a Justin Fields, you might want to take a guy to play matchups, or at the same time, like just roll with Justin Fields and see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, try to find somebody off the waiver wire or stream or whatever it is. Same with tight ends. I don't really see a reason, especially when you're talking about the difference between most tight ends is extremely narrow. Like if you're taking a Tucker Kraft, would you take a backup tight end?
No.
I wouldn't either.
I would never.
Yeah.
Unless you literally are getting like the 15th guy, then maybe. Like Colson Loveland, if I take him, I might want to
take a second guy to play matchups.
Jake Ferguson. Yeah. Good pairing.
So, I mean, don't be afraid to.
What's your next tip?
This one is very specific, and I never see people doing it, but don't draft kicker and defense. Like, honestly, in any draft, assuming that you can make roster pickups after the draft before the season starts, there's no reason to draft a kicker or defense, in my opinion.
Unless it's like the Wednesday before the Thursday game.
Well, yeah, okay. But even then, like, just take it on
right,
Thursday.
because you have till Sunday, too.
Like, this is a game theory thing. The more information that you have, the more likely you are to make correct decisions down the road. So I like stacking my bench with high upside lottery tickets in case someone gets injured in training camp. And you pick up your kicker and your defense right before the respective games. Bear in mind your site's hosting rules. Some sites like lock all transactions on the Thursday game. Most, though, are before the game starts. So this is a follow-on in-season tip. Pick up the backup running back or even the third-string running back for one of the 2 teams playing on Thursday night and drop your kicker or defense early in the week. Pick those guys up, see what happens. More often than not, nothing's going to come of it. And then you just drop that guy and pick up your kicker or defense on Friday, Saturday, or even Sunday morning.
Right. I mean, that's the key, man. Like, especially early drafts. Like, if you're talking a week or 2 weeks before the season, never draft a kicker or defense unless you can get if you can get Denver in the 3rd to last round, something like that, then I would consider it. The kickers, dude, we never know who the best guy is.
The kicker, there's no point. Denver, it would have to be like, you have to know that Denver is going to be a top 5 scoring offense.
And we never know.
It's very difficult to know.
We never know.
I mean, in season, I have often not picked up a kicker until Sunday night or even Monday night. Now, you got to be careful your league. They might try to block you. But, like, I want, like, if there's a high upside backup running back that's playing on Sunday night and it's a close matchup, I might wait until Monday to pick up my kicker and drop that guy just to see if anything happens on Sunday night. In the leagues that I play in, most of them are on Yahoo. They'll allow you to drop a guy that wasn't played or that did play that was on your bench, assuming they weren't in your starting lineup. So you drop one of your bench guys. But yeah, at least in draft season, just don't bother with a kicker or defense because Denver's probably going to go early. Baltimore's probably going to go early.
Way too early, like 10th round.
So just get that Ray Davis on the back of your bench and wait.
Do you remember it was Thursday, so it was the start of the season. Baltimore was playing Sunday, so it was the opening day of the NFL season at like 1:00 p.m. Both Dobbins and Gus Edwards got hurt in practice.
Oh yeah,
Dobbins tore his ACL. I think they both tore their ACL.
What was that guy's name? The
defensive back also.
Yeah,
too. They lost 3 players for the season.
That was a huge. He never panned out. You remember that? He never panned out, but that was like the big pickup prior to the season.
But just think about that. Like that was the day of technically opening night. Okay. That's why we're saying 2 weeks out, especially 2 weeks out, a week out. I am not drafting kicker or defense. I'm just drafting a guy like Taj Brooks, who is not one of those handcuffs that we're talking about. Like, he's not even a top 10 handcuff. But with our last round pick, if Chase Brown gets hurt today, they're going to bring in a guy. But Taj Brooks played in the preseason, 4th round draft capital, kind of comps to Chase Brown. I mean, he was actually technically drafted higher in the NFL draft than Chase Brown was the year prior or 2 years prior. Taj Brooks is the perfect guy because if Chase Brown stays healthy, Wednesday or Thursday before the first game, you just drop Taj Brooks and pick up your kicker.
Perfect.
Pick up Little from the Jags, who kick 70-yard field goals, who will not be drafted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, this is kind of an obvious one, but know your league settings. Draft. I have people asking me all these questions like, hey, what should I do here? I was like, dude, I need to know everything. Just scoring? Is it PPR? Is the quarterback? Is it 6 for a passing touchdown? Are there bonuses? The bonuses don't matter as much, but things like that. How many bench spots do you have? Because I'm going to draft way differently if I have deep benches or if I don't have deep benches. If it's 4 for a passing touchdown and there's no bonuses, I want a scrambler. I really want a scrambler. Justin Fields screams up my draft board. If it's 6 for a passing touchdown, I'm not drafting Justin Fields. Things like that. That matters. PPR to standard. That matters. Know your league settings.
How many times do you get into a draft room and the draft starts, you're 3 picks in, and somebody asks, "Is this PPR or no?"
And actually, I could just tell we did our draft. You didn't even know it was an IDP league.
Completely forgot it was an IDP league. Yeah.
You're asking who needs advice? Yeah. This guy needs advice.
I'm not too proud to admit that. Like I make mistakes too, and this is important information to be reminded of every single year.
Do you have one more?
I got one more. It's pretty straightforward, but sometimes people get locked in. Last one is be flexible. So don't be so rigid in your draft strategy that you pass over obvious value. Years ago, I had it in my head that 0 RB, I'm going to go 0 RB in this draft. Like, so what that meant is I'm going to take every wide receiver spot plus 2 before I draft my first running back. Yeah. And I passed up on outstanding value of guys that dropped with me because I was so dead set on getting that strategy correct. This year you might be so dead set on hero RB where you draft CMC or Ashton Genty or whatever it is, and you're going to just stack wide receivers for the next 4 rounds.
Or you want to get 2 in a row.
Yeah, but if Chase Brown drops you at the end of the 3rd, right, you're going to pass that up just because you have to get hero RB. It'd be foolish to pass up on that value. So another example, you might always look to draft the onesie positions, QB and tight end late, but if Brock Bowers, who's usually a 2nd-round pick, falls to you in the 3rd, it might make sense to draft your tight end early and adjust your strategy. Look for higher upside running backs and wide receivers later. So don't be so locked in that you're missing out on that value that really falls to you.
All right, my last one is stack your bench. This is a bench and a team building thing. Stack your bench with upside players. Do not take DeAndre Hopkins, for instance. No place on my bench. Never going to use him. Stack your bench with upside players. Handcuff running backs. RBs in ambiguous situations like Tootin. Guys like that, which, without the even trade rumors, like we don't know who the starter is there right now. We can speculate and we can go on, the veteran will start, but we don't know. So take guys like that. Rookie wide receivers have been popping off the last 4 years. I don't want to spend up on a Buka and some of these guys, but Pat Bryant, guys like that who could be the number 2. Alec Iomanner, guys like that who, after 3 weeks, my 16th round pick is probably going to be dropped anyway. But if I see week 1 that Alec Iomanner's playing ahead of Tyler Lockett and he comps as an actual X receiver where Tyler Lockett can't play that, I'm going to keep him. I'm not going to start him, but he has a spot on my bench because let's just say Calvin Ridley goes down and Iomanner's already playing 80% of the snaps and they're 0-4 to start the year. He's going to be out there every snap, and Iomanner could be a wide receiver 3.
Right. What are the chances that Pat Bryant's on your roster after week 4? Probably not good.
No.
At the same time, if he is the Michael Thomas heir apparent for the Sean Payton offense, then you want that guy on your bench, right? You don't. DeAndre Hopkins is literally never going to crack your lineup. If a guy isn't in my lineup after 2 or 3 weeks. When looking to pick up players off the waiver wire, I always think about this. Like, if I'm not going to play this guy next week, why am I bothering to pick him up? I get that you might be looking ahead, but I don't need to waste waiver priority on a guy that might turn into something. You want guys that you know have upside. So that's, again, some in-season stuff. But I'm 100% with you. Like, guys like Iomenor, Kendra Miller, who's now the, for sure, running back 2 there in a pass-catching friendly running back system. So, yeah, I agree with you. Get some upside, guys. Don't worry about the old guys.
This guy in the chat says Brock's not falling to the 3rd. It was more of an example, but
I mean,
ask me.
I literally drafted Brock Bowers in the 3rd on Saturday night.
He did draft. Yeah, it was a half PPR too.
I get that people are skeptical when you say like, oh, this guy's going here, but like this is a league of smart dudes, and running backs and wide receivers were being pounded early. I don't think the first quarterback was drafted until round 4, right?
Let's go. All right, man. This is a good time. Awesome episode.
Questions?
And I answered them all.
All right, good.
So, pleasure.
And it's been a complete joy.